Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining. If you've been a long-time viewer, I really appreciate your support. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit those notifications, subscribe, and like the video. It really helps the channel out a lot, and I love sharing it with you guys. So make sure you turn on those notifications so you can see when we release new videos. This week I'm super excited to share with you guys a collaboration I made with Powerful Jack Glass. He came out to the studio and we worked together for almost a week. He was such a pleasure to have as a guest, really fun to have in the studio, and I'm really excited about the piece that we made together. It's a recycler that includes components that I've made and components that he's made, and here's the video of us making this piece. If you'd like a more in-depth version of this video, please go to the online school, revereglass.com, and you can see an unedited, longer version where you can see all the details. Thanks everybody who's signed up to the online school. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate working with you guys. It's such a pleasure, especially the mentorship masterclasses every other Wednesday. That's so fun to work directly with you guys. If you'd like to join the online school, there's a free trial right now. Go ahead and sign up, see if you like it. You can cancel at any time. Thanks you guys for joining the online school. It's really an amazing community. Also, for those of you guys that ask where to buy my work, which I really appreciate you asking and supporting me and the things that I'm making, you can go to revereglass.com to purchase the work. Right now, I'm gonna put up a couple of Terp Slurper sets. One of them is a collaboration with Powerful Jack and myself, and the other one is an all opal Terp Slurper set. I also have other work available. If you're interested in these or anything else that I've made, you can always get my work, what's available at least, at revereglass.com. Make sure you stay tuned throughout the video because we're going to be giving away the chain, of course, from last time, and we're going to be giving away the reamers from Firebug Tools and the piece that Powerful Jack and I made. So make sure you comment on the video because there's a lot of giveaways, a lot of really nice stuff this week, and I'd love to get this stuff to one of you guys. If you're interested in learning more about making recyclers, please sign up for the Rich Villa class on July 24th this year. His work is amazing, and this class is going to be absolutely incredible to learn about the components and construction of a recycler. If you're interested in more details about the Rich Villa class, please go to the website revereglass.com and sign up. For the first 3 people that sign up using the promo code RECYCLE, you guys will get 25% off. Additionally, any members of the online school get additional discounts which you can compound and use together. It's really a great deal. You get so much information for not that much money. I'd love to see you there in the class. I'll see you soon. I want to thank our sponsor, Mountain Glass Arts. They've been a long-time supporter of these videos, and through their work, through these videos and their facilities, they're able to service the entire world with lampworking glass blowing tools. Thank you, Mountain Glass, so much for your continued support. Everybody in the world appreciates your customer service and your ability to provide such amazing tools to so many people. If you're interested in starting glass blowing or need some new tools, please tell them that you saw this in the video and they'll give you a little discount. We really appreciate your support, Mountain Glass Arts, from all of us in the entire community. Thank you so much for being the best supplier in the industry. Make sure to follow Powerful Jack on YouTube. He's got an incredible YouTube channel. He does some fun videos and some instructional ones as well. His link will be in the comments. It's Powerful Jack Glass on YouTube. Please make sure to follow him on Instagram at Powerful Jack Glass, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at Revere Glass. All the support means so much to us. It's how we are able to do what we do, and we can't thank you guys enough for continuing to support the channel and all the guests on the channel as well. All right, let's get in the studio and make this. I'm excited to share this with you guys. Make sure you comment on the video. You can win the piece, like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the studio. All right, you guys, so now we're in the studio, and the first thing that I always like to do when collaborating with somebody is put something down so that we both are kind of aiming in the same direction and have the same idea of where we're headed.
Exactly. You can, sometimes if you want to freestyle something, you can tend to get out of line of what you've had in the first place, and then you just want to stay focused on one certain project pretty much. And drawing that out is exactly what that helps you with.
Yeah, and you know, Powerful Jack has so much experience making recyclers that I needed to myself get an idea for what the different shapes we were going to be using were and how that was all going to fit together. And so it was really a good opportunity for me to learn more about how Powerful Jack works and understand the direction that we're going for in the piece. So we're just pointing out certain parts of the pieces that maybe we want color in, or we thought about putting a Marini on it at one point.
Yeah, but the way I finished these recyclers is I worked from the bottom of the can the whole time, and I don't know, for the time being, we couldn't figure out a way to get around this because we only had a day to work. And as you'll see later on in the video, we had quite some trouble with it, so we decided to skip the whole Marini process.
Yeah, make sure you guys watch throughout the video. You'll see us, going through the normal process of when you're making something complicated like this, especially the first time. You're going to run into some difficulties, as we did, and we left them in the video for you guys to check out. So make sure you watch throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, so it's a good lesson too, because usually even before I used to get a crack in a piece and I'll just toss it and think it was donezo, but this video you get the perfect lesson on why you shouldn't just throw it away right away.
So I would love to hear more, and I'm sure all of our viewers would like to hear more about how you got into glass and what drives you, what you're inspired by, things like that. Because I think maybe these people are going to be new to your work, some of them.
Yeah, well, what got me into glass was actually my buddy was into the whole mothership craze in 2015, 2016, that era. And he was because we'd always just, smoke and get ideas. And he was like, you should probably blow glass because you get some crazy ideas. And he doesn't know anything about blowing glass, so it's pretty funny he even told me to do it. And then I just started blowing glass, and from there on I did it alone. And the funny thing is I started watching Dustin's videos, Revere Glass, and that's literally what got me started throughout the first 6 months to a year, is I did only those videos, and that's what had me going. And the motivation for it all really was, I don't know, I never did anything else in my life where it was that fun, and I don't know, it's just super fun. And I feel like when you blow glass, the torch kind of calls to you pretty much. But
yeah, that's cool. And so you live on the East Coast and you blow glass. There's more humid where you blow glass.
Yeah, it's really muggy. It's super hot. I feel like there's not that many glass blowers for that reason, maybe, but.
And that's cool that you're using a Carlisle torch. A lot of these people maybe are also using Carlisle torches. So definitely a really good standard of the industry tool to use that's unbreakable.
Yeah, super good torch. Yeah, it's pretty much exactly, it's unbreakable. I was the way you clean it before you use it, you clean out the ports and you hit it with a wood hammer.
Yep.
That just proves you how unbreakable it is.
Yeah. So now we're both on the torch. You saw us kind of go through. We were choosing some different colors, and we had some different things we were kind of talking about using in the piece. And now Powerful Jack is going to be setting up some of the shaping prep, and I'm getting the wigwags ready. So what I'm doing here is pulling this apart, making two sections that are basically the same, and then I'm going to start wigwagging that up. A lot of people focus on making one thing really good, like recyclers or something like that, and so it's really cool to work with somebody who's spent so many hours perfecting a certain technique.
Exactly. That's probably the best. That's probably the best part about collabing, is because you will get stuck in the one path when you blow glass. A lot of times it's like that. So when you collab, you get to see how someone else, what they spent doing the whole years, their process. It's just the best way to learn. And you see just how many formats there is in this world.
Yeah, it's definitely, that's one of the best things and most enjoyable things, is seeing other people work and learn and create different techniques and everything where they can just show off their own individual style and techniques that they've developed over time.
Yeah, thanks. So I've been practicing recyclers for probably, out of the 5 years I've blown glass, probably 4 years now. And I pretty much try to hone in every part about recycling or function in a piece that you can. That's where I'm at now in the glass world.
Yeah, and let's talk about recyclers for people who haven't used them or maybe haven't seen them, because a lot of people will watch this video, maybe the first time they've seen a piece with this kind of function.
Yeah.
So does it have a purpose? Is it just visual? You know, what's your opinion on this?
That's kind of the big question. Does it even have a purpose? It definitely recycles the reclaim, so it gives you a visual look, but for me it's more of a visual thing. And the fact that you can get like the water moving in that pattern in such a small piece of glass is, oh, it just makes it funner versus the traditional banger hanger style that everyone's kind of used to. So, but does it make the smoke, I feel like maybe because there's more water, it might make the smoke less harsh, but
yeah, and
I think more visual.
I think so too. I mean, I'm no expert on it, but I would say that a lot of the draw is, no pun intended, the visual.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think, and there's also many different versions of a piece that recycles.
Yes.
Some of them use more water, some of them use less water. And powerful jacks are, what I like about his styles, they're kind of like stretched out a little bit more than a normal recycler. I guess, or you know, that's unique to his styles. There's not as many people stretching them out like that. And well, that's really cool.
It's basically the traditional style recycler that they have a beaker style and the recycler against the back of it. I just did that, but added the donut on top of the beaker. So this has a little bit more water to travel through.
And it goes through the donut as well, like the water?
Yes, and then it goes through the first set of drains before it reaches the vortex, is in the donut. Just a lot of recycling going on. But it's fun how you can make it recycle without even a vortex. That's what really drew me to this style, the arms on the donut. Because, I don't know, you always thought you needed the vortex to recycle something that it just didn't need. You could push the water in a certain motion.
Yeah, but there is a vortex on this piece. Wouldn't you call that downspout the vortex?
That's the vortex, but but the arms on the donut, those drains, they recycle. That just recycling blew my mind. I didn't know it was possible.
And I'm sure there's tons of other possibilities. I mean, if you guys are making recyclers, you should totally tag us on your Instagram post, or post it on the Torch, or even better, the Boro Babble forum on the online school, and let's see the recyclers that you guys are making and coming up with new designs, because certainly you can make all kinds of adaptations of what we're showing here, and you know, make it your own. Yeah,
it really is endless with recyclers. And what I'm doing all right here, where you see me breaking down so many blanks, is because a lot of the recyclers has to deal with ratios. So you want to set yourself up with like kind of visual and how much glass you'll need for this piece, and it's like a big puzzle. So you're gonna need the can, the donut, the drains, the recycler, the neck. So kind of prep all those pieces out before, and yeah, just set yourself up so you're not backtracking on what to do later on in the piece.
Yeah, so talk about the proportions a little bit more. What are things that you look for when you're recycling, or making a recycler, I should say?
You definitely want a decent. So you want a wide base. So you don't have any back pressure. And I've found that if you have something on top of the can, like a donut or some kind of shape, or maybe just make the can longer like that style, it seems to recycle better.
And we'll have some function videos at the end of this video when we do the glam shots for you guys. So if you guys watch till the end, you'll definitely see some function videos of this thing and how the water is moving around. It's super interesting, and like Jack says, it's really fun to watch. It's fun to do.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
So you're just punting up here to the base, and then gonna shape this out a little bit in the middle, maybe.
Yep, and I'm just gonna go for like a bell style. This is pretty much how I shape every piece. I do this bell shape, and then I can think of this one I drew out before, what I want. But usually I'll start off with this bell shape, and you just condense a lot of it, and you press like that Maria style. If you have like a video on how to make a donut, it's kind of like that. But instead you flatten just one side and you don't do both.
So you're just pushing down on the Marva there, and then this is setting up that vortex section of the piece where you're gonna have that water traveling back down into the can and creating a vortex.
Exactly, and this is pretty much this is how I look at it. It's like a miniature can, so, and it's important because whenever you pull down this side, you're gonna pull down the diameter for the drain for the recycle, and this is extremely important because if it's too skinny, it'll be that slow drain and it won't get that perfect bubble travel you want. And if it's too thick, it just won't work at all. It won't work properly. So this takes a lot of practice, but it's a fun little motion. It's kind of like pulling a point, or if you're pulling out a bowl. So it's nothing you're foreign to, but you just want to make sure that you heat up the right amount of glass and pull at the right time.
So we're talking right now about the stretch that Powerful Jack's about to do right here, where he's heating this up and going to stretch down this taper. And that's what's so important to get right for the function, is this taper that he's pulling right now.
And it's exactly like, it's pretty much like pulling a point. I've never pulled points before at my work, but this is what I could,
Yeah, it's very much like pulling a point. It's a little bit slightly bigger, but you have that taper. I mean, the difference is that taper on the top is important in this as well. But it's just like pulling a point or pulling anything, or condensing the center of a spoon and pulling that out.
Exactly.
All these techniques are the same thing over and over again, just basically done in a different way.
Exactly. So it's what seems daunting at first, it's not as hard as you think as soon as you like attack the process.
It's very true. It's very true. Once you practice a little bit, and I was talking to another friend of mine about this recently, is that once you practice, you can make anything that you want, as long as you understand the material and how it's going to move. You can pretty much just go at it and make anything that's in your head.
Yeah, that's a lot of part of the fun. We showed earlier about drawing the process before, but a lot of fun part of glass is just going freestyle mode in your head. And whenever you have the skills to control the glass too, you can really work on the fly.
Yeah, that's what we were talking a little bit about too when you first got here, is working more in the improvisational realm than the scientific, where you have a blueprint and a drawing. Is that both of us tend to work more in the improvisational side of things. I start to make components, and then I know my work and which direction I'm going to take it, but sometimes I have to see a few of the components there, be like, oh yeah, this is going to fit like that.
Exactly. It's kind of the both worlds work, but in the beginning you really want to draw it out, I feel like, instead of just going freestyle mode.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and also if that's a skill that you have, it's an invaluable skill, and you should definitely be drawing out your pieces and having a sketchbook and practicing that. So right now I'm just setting up for the donut, and I'm putting a wigwag on each side, and then I'm going to make the donut as part of the can here.
And the donut, like I said, for the recycler, proportions, like the ratios are very important, and you don't want this part to be too, if you're going to put something on top of the can for the recycle through, you don't want it to be too airy. So make sure you don't put like a big Zephyr, maybe, like a style thing, because it might lose, it doesn't want to travel upward as well. So make sure that if you do pick something that it's skinny, like almost like it's like an uptake.
Yeah. Also, when you're attaching two wigwags like this, I'm trying to line up the points of the wigwag so that each side is terminating around the same point, so that I can choose whatever side on either side of the donut, and it's all going to match up.
It's extremely important. This is a very fun little challenge too, doing this style of the donut, having to work on each side.
Yeah, so I made it flat. Now I've made a little disc, and there's a wigwag on each side. And now we're gonna just pop a hole on each side. We've done a lot of donuts. You guys are welcome to check out some of the old videos and see some donuts. Putting that together. We have some guests in the studio. We have Dr. Delta. You follow him on Instagram. There's Bordy Bo. You can follow him on Instagram if you want to see some sick kendama stuff.
Crazy kendama. Any kendama fans, go to this page right now. The kid's insane.
Bordy Bo, at Bordy Bo. We'll leave a link up for you guys. And Dr. Delta, he's an old friend of mine.
Yeah, super cool dude.
So I'm just putting a couple wigwags here, Tetris style. Put them together. You can see the lines matching up. Very typical of stuff I've showed you guys before. And then this is going to be a small section in the can, just to bring out a little bit of color, make it pop, make it nice.
So right here, now that Dustin hands off those wigwag sections, I'm going to stack them on top of what is going to be the can. And when you make this connection, the encalma connection, I've seen people do them where it's like a cold seal style or it's a hot seal. I tend to do like a mid seal.
What would you say it is on the seal scale though?
Seal scale, I'd probably say 5, right? That's probably the best mid.
Yeah, I mean for making this
For my
connection
combos.
for the in-combo.
Yeah, I don't like it too hot because sometimes you can, if it's too hot and you puff out, you might twist the lines maybe, work into the seal.
Have you used many wigwags before in your work?
Not a lot at all. I can't say. I've used probably maybe 10 projects that include wigwags.
Yeah, they you know you got to be real careful, but it's good that you can see all the lines so that you can tell when it's twisting.
Yeah, they're good for telling you what you're doing wrong. Because if you're twisting the glass in one direction too much, it'll twist your whole pattern that you just worked hours on making. It'll ruin it. So you want to go back and forth. But then that transition is good to go into other glass projects because you know how the glass is moving.
Yes, it's a good skill building technique. So right now we're adding the second piece. We're basically encalmoing another piece of clear on top of there, and this will give us all the material that we need for the can.
And I probably should have added more glass or a bigger piece of glass here, so I kind of work against myself, but make sure that all your prep work, that the holes are exactly perfect and that you you want to have more glass than less, if anything.
Just flaring this open.
Yeah.
Do you use jacks at home? Are they powerful
No, it's
jacks?
funny. No, I use little tiny tweezer jacks, so it's fun using that huge one. I don't remember, it was a powerful jack, but he's wanted to give me.
So now we're just blowing out the can here.
Yeah, so now I switch sides when I would work the bottom because I was talking about earlier. I always start my piece from the bottom, then I work my way up from every part. So the can is the most important part. You want it to be on axis as much as possible too. Which is pretty much with everything. But this is when recyclers, you really want it to be on axis because you don't want things to get funky on you.
Yeah, look, that's a nice shape coming out. We got a bell shape coming.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite styles. It's for some reason it was what I was drawn to, when the bell shaped like banger hanger with the grommet.
Yeah.
Those style tubes, I love them, and when I figured out how to do that one day, pretty much just do that style now. It's my favorite one.
And that's great to explore something, and I love that shape as well.
Yeah, it's pretty traditional, like it's the classic shape. And you can pretty much go from that bell style, you can do any foot. You can do like any foot style you want, so it's pretty bulletproof for doing.
So why do you like to work with the blowtube connected to the base as opposed to the mouthpiece?
I don't know if it's just because of how I taught myself, but it tends to be you can control everything from the base instead of holding, because when you hold it from the bottom, you can hold it in front of you, kind of like how you hold like a cane maybe. But if you hold it from the top, you're kind of swinging it around, and if you're adding seals and all that kind of stuff, it's really hard to keep everything symmetrical when you're just holding it from the top. But it is all preference, I think, in a lot of glass, whatever you're comfortable with. But I see a lot of people, well, half people do it from the top, I finish from the bottom.
Yeah, I tend to work from the top, but I can see a lot of merit from working from the base.
Yeah.
And a lot of really good people like Yushin and other people who are really technically good and achieved a lot do work from the base as well. So I think there's a lot to that.
Yeah, it seems to just give you a lot of control. For attachments as well, I feel like also.
So now we're doing a little bridge here.
Yeah, and I tend to bridge everything. I know some people who will swear that you don't need a bridge. If you're good enough, you could just do it by hand. But bridge, if you can bridge something, bridge it, and then work on that seal as much time as you need. So if it's bridged up, you can go back in the kiln, bring it back out, work on it, do whatever, move it around if it's not in the perfect position that you want it.
Yeah, it's really, really important to bridge your work, and it allows you to work on those seals long enough so that the seals are strong and they're fluid and they're not going to break, which are really a problem, when you're making large pieces, that each of your seals is perfect, because otherwise one of those seals could start a crack and go through the rest of your piece.
Exactly, and that's why a lot of technical things like this, you want those seals to be perfect. If it has any if there's any funkiness going on, and if you let it cool down without a Bunsen burner or something, you'll figure out real quick where you where you messed up.
So we're doing the arms here. at the moment?
Yeah, these I like to do the bend as you just saw there with the. I tend to use the first stage flame, but sometimes if it's a long arm, I'll throw on the second stage, and you want a nice soft flame when you do that. At least for me, and I don't puff any air or anything. I get it just hot enough to where the glass would move if I let go of it, and then when it's that heat, then I start going for the initial push. But also whenever I do this Jesus seal part that I'm about to do right now, I like to use gravity, and then I'll puff out the arm even wider than what it is right now. But sometimes with colored pieces, you can't do that, so you have to get it perfect the first shot.
So if you guys are interested in the Jesus seal, there's some better close-up shots in the specific Jesus seal video. It's a really interesting seal, the Jesus seal video that we made years ago. There's some really interesting techniques that you can do with this, and what you do is you blow each side and they connect and they make a small membrane, and you blow a little bit bigger and the membrane just pops, and then you have a beautiful seal. It's a really interesting technique.
Yeah, and that's that seal is probably the basis. When the night I figured that seal out, that set my whole path on the glass like road that I'm on right now. So before that, I was just doing banger hangers. When I figured out this Jesus seal, it really set like the wheels in my brain started rolling. Oh, and right there, you see, we were talking about the crack earlier. So the donut popped on me, probably from leaving it out too long, and Dustin's gonna take care of that real quick.
Yeah, so I put this thing in the Nicola under the Bunsen burner.
The Nicola is still a pretty new tool for me, but I have found it really useful, and it made repairing this crack super easy because I could hold it under the Bunsen, keep turning it, go in with my mini torch. I found it really a nice addition to my tool set to use here.
I've heated it up. It's been going on in the Nicola, and I'm going in with my flame, my little teeny flame just along the crack, and trying to get this line all the way nice and sealed. But it's definitely a mean crack.
Yeah, and so things like this definitely happen more than often, but a lot of times you can fix it and it could be flawless, but this scenario, it just wouldn't get that lucky because it tended to go on, it went on the whole entire donut. It was a pretty nasty one.
Yeah.
But you learn a lot from scenarios like this because a lot of times things do go south and then you gotta fix it real fast, and that's just part of the glass, that's part of the glass, or blowing glass.
We did it, but you can see how separated it is right there. I'm just trying to close it really lightly with the very tip of my tungsten, because I'm not trying to misshape it at all, but the thing is like totally disconnected at this point. And it goes all the way through. You can see it goes all the way through the whole side. So really careful connection and putting this together at this point.
Yeah, and it's a bummer it happened right on that line work, but we actually got lucky, or it didn't distort anything too much on the line.
Not too bad, not too bad. But still, definitely crack repair is really important. And if your piece cracks, don't just throw it away. Try to work with that crack, even if you're not going to save the piece eventually. But learn how to repair cracks well. It's really important.
Very, yes. And from cracks that I've learned, if it happens right away, I blast it in a flame annealing heat, then I just leave it in the flame. Then I'll use my mini hand torch, just barely, like a propane flame. And a lot of times that'll seal up the crack if it stays hot enough, but sometimes it leaves a scar. You just don't get too lucky.
So because there was a little bit of an imperfection there, I wanted to grab some pieces or maybe an opal or something just to kind of hide it a little bit more, and draw the attention away from the maybe a little scar there, but add on something beautiful. So these flowers were made by my friends in Italy, the Ballerine brothers, and I can't thank them enough for visiting and having me out there in their studio in Murano. They left a few components around the studio, and I thought maybe you guys would appreciate them, and I guess now this is a three-way collab in some form by our friends in Italy and Powerful Jack and myself.
And it's actually cool because the flowers, like this style, I've actually made a couple pieces using this the Ballerino twins, I say
Ballerine.
Ballerine, I use this exact same technique from them. So it's kind of funny that we ended up getting to put it on this piece.
Yeah, it's nice because that was one of the pieces that I saw that you shared, had these flowers on it, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. I'd love to invite him out for doing a YouTube video with me. And then I sent him a message.
Yeah, and I learned everything a lot from Dustin, because I don't have where I live in Florida, there's not a lot of glass blowers, so
Thanks.
YouTube, this has been a lot of help.
Yeah, and I mean, I appreciate that, and it means a lot. And I'm also going to preface that by saying there are so many glassblowers that have so much to teach, and this is just my style and the way that I teach and the things that I'm good at. And there's a ton of people who specialize and are masters at different things. So when you're looking for glass education, please make sure you check out other people that also have a lot to teach as well.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of options out there.
All right, so now we're just making the mouthpiece, right?
Yeah, exactly. And for my mouthpieces, in glass blowing, you like to have like a signature style that kind of helps people towards you. And I like to do a 3 Maria style. So I do one big fat Maria for the mouth and the second one underneath it. And then I put a 3rd Maria right above the splash guard.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think that's right. So,
some people might not even notice that, but
yeah, but some people do.
yeah, exactly.
It's really cool to add in little components and little secret things to your work that that you're adding in your signature details and things like that. And some people will notice that. Like, for example, my logo, it has those numerical codes in it, 710 420, and we just now did an animation to show everybody else because they've been in there the whole time. But we did an animation, and it's good to have those little secret thoughts put into things,
I honestly never even knew that.
Yeah?
No, I never knew that.
It's cool. Yeah, I'll show you the animation.
That's funny.
It's in this video. If you guys missed it, rewind the video to the beginning for when it says Revere, and then changes to the 710 420. Look at that 710 420 comes out of the Revere logo. You'll see. So now you're just making the connection between the top of the donut and the vortex.
Exactly. So that uptake Jesus seal is going to be the pretty important part about the recycler, because if you make it too skinny, it won't move water quick enough. If it's too big and like fat, it just won't look pretty. So make sure that part's real. That's a lot of the battle is making your Jesus seal on the arm pretty.
Yeah, that was interesting how you did it on too. You attached one side and then melted it around, and then
exactly.
did another Jesus seal up there.
I'll rely on gravity a lot for the seals.
So this is 3 Jesus seals on this piece.
Exactly, yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about the Jesus seals. How did you learn that technique?
I actually learned it from your videos where I was introduced to it, but actually doing the Jesus seal was funny because I was just doing it wrong. So it's weird when you blow glass by yourself. Like, this is a perfect example to go to shops for help like this. I couldn't figure it out, and this Dirty B Glass, I want to say his name is, he showed me within 30 seconds I was doing the Jesus seal.
Yeah.
It really changed the whole game, and for months I couldn't do it properly, and within 30 seconds someone just telling you what to do in a shop scenario helped you out that much. Or just having a teacher.
Yeah, and I think that's really interesting because the Jesus seal isn't that complicated of a seal itself.
No.
It's like a little trick, basically.
Exactly, and you learn a lot of little things for them, and then you want to do, there's different scenarios where like you want to have the Jesus seal super far away because you want to have as less glass as possible there. And I don't know, it's a tricky little thing.
Yeah, you do. Their distance does matter for
Exactly,
how much you're going to blow out and how thick the glass is. So you attach the mouthpiece here, and the mouthpiece is off center from the bottom blow tube. Is that right?
Yeah, so this part is a little tricky for people when they first move on to like recyclers because it is off center, right? It's off center.
Yeah, off center.
So that can get a little funky, but you'll get used to it. I don't know, it's just muscle memory pretty much.
And then you attached it and then attached a bridge so that you could go into that seal and make it really nice.
Exactly. Always, if you have a chance to bridge, then do that. Bridge it then.
And I guess when you finish these pieces, you hold it with a Kevlar pad and heat up the bottom?
Yeah, basically? Exactly. I use the... actually, no, I heat up the mouthpiece when I finish.
And what are you holding on to?
A Kevlar pad. It's like barbecue tongs, that style. Those are my go-to.
And so now, just finishing up the perk here, it's a really interesting technique to make a perk where you're making a Maria and then the perk and then inserting that and having the Maria seal around the piece.
Exactly, and you want when you do this style, the Maria style, you want it to sit inside of it like a perfectly flush. If anything, you want to add glass. So see how that goes inside of the piece right there? That's exactly what you want. You don't want it sitting on top of it, like lapping it. So right there, then you go in, hit that bottom tack, and then you don't want to leave just one. Real quick while it's hot, grab your tungsten pick, and you want to tack the top real fast. Justin's tungsten thing.
So the hole in the can was bigger than the Maria.
Exactly.
And you basically lined it up and then closed the hole a little bit down onto the Maria.
Sorta. So right now I'll tack top and bottom, and there's still a little bit of air, but if you'll figure out like you can close the glass, it will just collapse back on that open area. I think on this one I have to add a little bit of glass even, but it happens a lot with these styles.
And what do you prefer about this as opposed to dropping in like a little flare or something like that?
The flare, it just depends whatever you're comfortable with. The flare, I didn't have that much luck with it. And I tend to leave, because I want extra glass out right here because the little S style that I use for the joint. So I don't know, just whatever you're comfortable with, however you're working. I lived on to this style. And some people even do different than this. They'll do a half, not a solid Maria, they'll just do like a half Maria.
What do you
like
mean?
A real soft Maria.
Oh yeah?
Like a hollow one. And they'll do that technique and it looks even cleaner, supposedly. So whatever you learn, whatever works for you, just go for that.
Yeah, there's so many paths to the same or a similar outcome. It's really, really special and cool to see other glassblowers working and using different techniques and, you know, making something that you might make a little bit differently, and you can share that with each other and both progress as a team and a community.
Yeah, exactly. It's always fun seeing how other people attack projects, because that's one thing, like there's not one way. Like everyone seems to work it a little bit differently than others. It's fun to watch.
So what are you working on here?
This is gonna be I'm putting a little bridge part. So I'm setting myself up for a bridge to the can in the future. And these are important because if you just put a joint without this little bridge seal right there, you get that like gong, the gong thing. If you flick it, it'll like bong, like that weird. So you want to have a bridge going to the can.
Also, for stability of the joint too, it could really break off.
Oh yeah.
The glass is a little flexy, and if you flex it too much, that thing breaks.
Exactly. So you do like a little S, and you just look at the can and whatever you think in your head. It usually comes. I don't know. For some reason, I work like off the fly like that. So I'll look at the can and think, all right, I need to make this much of a bend, and then I'll do that. But a lot of times, people. There's a lot of different ways you can do this.
So it's basically, we got the piece mostly finished here, and we're just gonna attach the joint at this point and take it off. I mean, it's we're pretty close here at this point.
Yeah, we're almost there. And this is why I leave that little extra glass in this is why I do that ring seal this way, because whenever I attach this part, I like the way that it flows into like, it makes like that nice S. It just makes it easier for, just faster. Because, I don't know, I've had some ring seals pop on me. So every part about this ring seal strategy that I use, it's that I do it quickly.
Yeah, definitely good point. These seals, you have to do quickly, get it into the kiln. This piece has been in and out of the kiln many times.
Yep.
And we just put it in the kiln, let it sit for 10 minutes, then come out and do the next step.
And after that crack, honestly, we were ready for anything after that. So that was a fun project.
Yeah, and this is for one of you guys. Make sure you comment on the video. Let us know what you think. Let us know how you've liked to blow glass, or if you're trying to blow glass, or anything that you'd like to share with us. And we're gonna be giving this to one of you guys. And you know, I can't thank Jack enough for coming out here. I've had such a good time working together.
Yep, likewise. Love California, obviously, and blowing glass out here, where I learned how to blow glass was pretty surreal. And now I'm doing On the Torch, what I used to watch, nonstop. Till this day, actually, still.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. I mean, and it gives you guys some inspiration. Like, you know, everyone started as a beginner.
Exactly.
Right? And you never know where it's going to lead. And, you know, yeah, you guys can totally do this. Just practice a little bit and it's all achievable for sure.
Yep, it's just dedication, and don't be discouraged if you're not good. I say at least like 6 months to a year to anyone who blows glass. I go, just make it through that 6 months to a year, and you'll be good. Because that's fun, but it's very discouraging if you see someone else.
It's a very difficult medium. It's, you know, when
Yes.
people ask me, you know, about it, I kind of I compare it to like the violin of instruments.
Yep.
It's one of the more technical art forms. It's very, very
Unforgiving.
precise and unforgiving.
Yes.
And but you know, what you can learn how to forgive yourself if you learn how to fix cracks.
Yeah,
you know?
that's the nice thing about glass is if it breaks, it's because you did something wrong in the glass.
Yeah.
So it's not something that's so like, it's not like this funky thing that just happens out of nowhere. So it's kind of nice. So like if something does break, you always learn why it broke. Most of the time, you learn why it broke and how not to do it next time, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to read your cracks. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's what Jack is saying over there. It's like your cracks have a story. They can show you where they started and generated, which way they ran, which is going to tell you what the glass was feeling when it cracked, and that's going to give you the information of where your heat was when the glass cracked.
Yep. And a lot of times it's just a good hard lesson, honestly.
So you detach the blow tube, then reattach another blow tube.
So I switched to now I switched to the mouthpiece, and now I was working the mouthpiece. So as soon as I get to this point, I attach the joint from holding it from the top. I don't know why I do it like this, but it just tend to.
But normal. This is your normal working style.
Exactly. Yeah. If I did it, I used to do it from the bottom, and then I'm just more precise when I do it like this because I try to make that top one as straight as possible. So if I attach my joint and then I line my hand up with that top thing, it's a little easier from doing that from the bottom.
Yeah, and I think that's an important lesson for you guys is that you can switch the axis of your piece and the direction of the blow tube as many times as you want to get it in the most comfortable position for you, as long as you're keeping it in the kiln and keeping the piece warm. You really can do that many, many times without it being bad for the piece or the construction.
Yeah, don't be worried about finishing it too fast.
Yeah, take your time, do each step properly, make each component. This is a joint that I made for the piece. We didn't catch it on camera, but I just made a little joint to finish it off. And you guys have seen me make joints before, but I'm sure that you'll see them again as well. If you're curious, go ahead and go to the online school. There's plenty of content and videos there about making joints and attachments and things like that.
And so right here I'm going to attach that joint. I heat up one side, and then I already did the flip. So when you attach, you want to do one puff and pull.
Yep.
And make sure there's no cracks or any thick spots right here because this is where it's gonna want to crack. He's gonna bridge up real fast. And right here I noticed that it's not aligned perfectly. So I just decided I'm just gonna bridge it up and then finish the seal to where it's good enough because this seal, it's pretty important. You don't want to mess it up and get it too funky because it's right next to the joint and you don't want to puff out that curve right there going to the joint too much.
And we have a few minutes left in the piece. I think it'd be great to talk about your propane annealing flame that you're using, which is different than the stuff that they've seen with me. Yeah,
so Dustin uses a Bunsen burner, which is probably a lot better if you're working for things like this because you don't have as many chips to the kiln. But that annealing flame, you can really you can get away with a lot of stuff if you just use that. Like right there, I was just polishing the Marias, so I just used that like it was a Bunsen pretty much. And if you do that, your piece there's a lot less likely chance to crack.
Yeah, it's another solution for the Bunsen, or people use it in conjunction with.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of glassblowers that put the carbon layer on their piece, like you're seeing here, the black. That's going to come right off in the kiln. It's just temporary, and it's basically sticking to the glass at a certain temperature, telling you when it's going to be malleable, when it needs to be heated up and put in the kiln, and it also supposedly leaves a coating that keeps in the heat a little bit.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So there's a lot of reasons to do it. I mean, in theories, you know, who knows, but it's a widely used and common technique that Powerful Jack was using too, that I noted and wanted to show you guys.
It became part of my religion now, using the annealing flame.
Just flattening this out and getting this done, and there we go.
One final check. You can polish out any tool marks from the marver. And you want to make this part where the Maria is, I like to make it as flat as possible. And just make sure that it's comfortable. That's where your lips are going to be. So it's like, this is like your eyes for the piece. So if that part's not comfy for your mouth, it won't be, I don't know, it's just important. Like little things like that go a long way too. Make sure that piece is super smooth.
Yeah, it's true. It's like, it's almost like a first impression.
Yeah.
You know? You want to make a good first impression.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the first impression for the piece a lot of times, is that connection between the piece itself and your body. It's going to heat it up a little bit and make sure it's nice and even, smooth, paddle it out. And there's not unlimited time here. We got to get that in the kiln pretty soon, but the timing is good enough that we can do this work, but you got to be careful at these stages, fine-tuning stuff. Sometimes it's better to put it in the kiln for a little bit too.
Yeah, you're really playing with fire when you do this.
Cool, guys. Well, here's the piece. You can check it out. You can see the function. You can see everything spiraling around, the different colors.
Yeah, I totally love the way that all that line work came out too. It was really cool how it all came together. So you can check out more of my work at my Instagram is powerful_jackglass, well, all underscores. And then I also have a YouTube channel, guys. You can, it's like the same thing Dustin does with the all how-tos. And then I also do like vloggy type things, and I have a car that I just videotape for no reason, but if you're into that stuff, that's Powerful Jack on YouTube, and check it out.
Yeah, it's really interesting, you guys. Definitely check out the IG and the YouTube videos. And yeah, I can't thank you enough for coming out.
No problem, man. Appreciate everything.
Welcome back, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me for that demonstration. It was so fun working with Powerful Jack Glass. Please make sure you comment on this video to win this piece. I can't wait to send it to one of you guys. And also comment to win those amazing Firebug tools. That's going to be a great addition to anyone's tool set. I have some questions that you guys have asked. Make sure you ask questions in this video so that I can answer them in the next video. This first one is from Brandon Leal. What inspired you to make the online classes? I love building community, and I really loved aspects of having the brick and mortar studio in Berkeley. And I felt like during COVID, there was such a lack of community in the glassblowing world for education and a safe place to learn where you can be creative and be supported by your peers. I wanted to create a space that was completely supportive, where everyone was working together to get better at glass and make the price affordable for anybody in the world. With my technological background and my glassblowing background, it seemed like the perfect mesh. And I'm really excited that I've opened up the online school, and it's actually the year anniversary this week from the original V1 of the online school, which launched in July, and then we had the V2, of course, that's live right now, which launched in January of this year. So it's a year anniversary to the school. Thank you so much for asking about it. I'd love to see you guys there. There's a free trial right now. Go ahead to revereglass.com, sign up, and I'll see you there in the online school. The next question is from AJ, and he says he was trained in hot glass and finds it often that he pushes the heat too far. And he asked, did I experience that when I went through my transition? If so, how did you retrain yourself? And AJ's right. For those of you guys that don't know, I have a background in soft glass furnace working as well. I started furnace working and lamp working at the same time. And eventually I focused more on lamp working because I was presented with a lot of opportunities to work with really amazing people, and I was able to set up a studio at home. So as far as the heat's concerned, absolutely. I was trained in soft glass to get things really, really hot and fluid all the time. And I think that still does affect my work today. I've definitely seen glassblowers work a lot colder and move things a lot slower than me. And I think it's just adapting to your own style, feeling where the glass is hot and where those limits are. But I definitely work hotter than a lot of people that I've seen. There's some advantages to that and some disadvantages to that. Basically, the piece is never really on center until I freeze it in place at the very end, which is a fun way to work, but sometimes moving slower is better. I think having both skills is important, being able to work the glass really hot and being comfortable with that, and also being able to slow down and work the glass colder is a really important skill set in lamp working as well. So the way I transitioned was just through practice, just continuing to understand the glass, understand the medium, and being able to vary my heat base depending on what I'm making and what seems right for the piece. Thanks for the question, AJ. The last question is from Chucky Whiskers. He's asking what kind of concentrators I use because oxygen is really expensive to keep refilling. And I use a system called the high volume oxygen system. There's a link down in the comments for you guys. It's an amazing system where I bank concentrators together and then go into a compressor so that I have a higher volume of oxygen that I can use at once. The concentrators don't produce enough pressure for me to blow glass on the torches that I use, so I have to combine all that purified oxygen into a storage tank, and then I can use the oxygen from the storage tank. The high volume oxygen system is an amazing addition to the glass blowing tool set. In fact, I think it may be my favorite tool, maybe my most valuable tool that I've ever bought. Initially, I got it while I had the brick and mortar Revere glass, and my oxygen bill was almost $30,000 per year. I was able to get the oxygen system for about $15,000, and the ROI on that was only like 8 months. So it's an amazing tool. Depending on how much oxygen you're using, it will pay for itself faster or slower. In a one-man, two-man studio, it may take a couple years for the ROI to be there, but it's a really great investment and it's really easy to use. HVO has excellent customer service, and if you mention that you saw this in the video, they'll give you 5% off. Thank you guys so much for using HVO. For those of you guys that have it, if you'd like to know more about the high volume oxygen system, you can go to their website, highvolumeoxygen.com, and there's a video that we put out about setting up one of their systems in my old studio. I definitely highly recommend their system, and that's how I solved my oxygen problem. Thanks for the question. All right, you guys, thanks for tuning in for the whole time. The winner this week is MMA Renegade. Thank you so much for your comment. I thought it was hella funny. Please let me know where I can ship this chain to. Go to revereglass.com, open up the chat, tell us that you're the winner from this week's video, and we'll ship out that chain to you. Thank you so much, MMA Renegade. We really appreciate your support of the channel, and I can't wait to get you this chain. All right, you guys, thank you so much for checking out this video with Powerful Jack and myself. Please make sure to follow us on Instagram and YouTube. Comment in the video to win the piece and the Firebug tool set. We'll see you guys in just a couple weeks with a new video. There's some amazing things planned out for season 3, so please make sure you comment, like, and subscribe to the channel so that you can see the next videos that come out. Thanks a lot, you guys, for all your support. I can't do this without you. I really appreciate everyone in the community coming together and learning as a team. All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much for, all right. We ready to go? What was that, Kenzo? Is there a mount that we can get for that light, or?